this is Sherry Ray, as you know, and Sherry and I are off. We met a guy named Stephen last night at a local taverna. And Stephen has written a book, and it's about to be published, on the history of Naxos. So he really knows the island, and he's agreed to give us a little tour.
He's a philosophy professor.
Oh, that's right, he's a philosophy professor at Rutgers.
Rutgers.
And you kind of like him, don't you? Don't you have a little fancy for him, too?
Oh, I just met him last night, but maybe a little.
Okay. And he's going to tell us all about this crazy island.
Yes, he is. Hopefully he is.
Good morning.
How are you?
Hello. Oh, thanks for agreeing to come out and... would you like a cup of coffee?
No, I'd love some water, actually. I've already had plenty of coffee.
Okay. Have some water.
It's going to be quite warm because the wind's coming from the south today.
Okay. Great.
And it's a very warm, moist wind when it comes from the south.
Yeah. So can you just tell us how you found this place?
I came on holiday a long time ago. The first time was 1981. And I was on Paros, and then I came over to Naxos briefly. And I fell in love with the place.
And what was it like back then?
Well, this road hasn't changed too much, I suppose. It was the Paralia is the main street along the harbour is the road that's really changed. Back then, it was all little knick-knack shops for spanners and screwdrivers and fishing tackle and stuff like that, and housewares, and it was, shops that the locals would use. And now, of course, it's all cafes, all restaurants, all tavernas. That's the biggest change down there. And I suppose the beach area has changed a lot. The main beach here down at Plaka, between Agiana and Mikrivigla, was pretty deserted. There were 2 or 3 tavernas there, and a few people camping on the beach.
Is that what you did?
Yeah. Camped on the beach for a lot of the summer, and
with a tent, or did you just sleep?
No, we built a hut out of this local reed. It's a sort of bamboo. It's not exactly bamboo. It's a reed, and it's very good. The farmers use it all the time to block the wind out to stop the soil erosion, and all the nude campers back then, built their little huts.
Nude camping.
Yeah, so everybody was it was a nude beach. It's still part of the beach is still a nude beach.
Yeah, right. Okay. So you live in New York. You're an Englishman in New York.
I'm an Englishman.
You must love that song. I heard it the other day, and I said, "Gosh, I wonder what the English think about when they hear that Sting song."
Yeah, I guess we try not to.
You don't have a cane?
No.
Okay. Anyway.
But I do love Manhattan.
Do you?
Yeah. I only moved there a couple of years ago. I'm absolutely in love with it. I think Manhattan and Naxos, that's all a growing boy needs. Well, I'm on sabbatical this year, so I can spend quite a bit of time here. So I shall stay here on and off until September. I'll go back to London, have a quick trip back to London for a week. And I'm going to Bulgaria for a week. Greeks are very loud, yes.
Why'd you get into philosophy?
I have no idea. I get asked that question a lot, and I still haven't got a good answer. But I guess it's...
Do you think about it all the time?
A lot of time, yeah. Thinking about various projects that I'm working on. I try to work while I'm here, but I work very early in the morning here when I can, because it's too hot otherwise.
It seems like the kind of job that would be similar to like living a poet's life. Where you're constantly able to think at a level that's a little
removed from the practical. That's certainly true.
Do you find that true?
Absolutely, yeah. In fact, one of the things I've found being here in Greece, I've started to be more practical. I've started doing stuff around the house, painting and cementing and concreting and putting up shelves and stuff like that. Things I've never done before, and I find it's quite a nice release from writing and reading the whole time.
Do you find practical ways of using what you know about philosophy in your life?
No, the only practical benefit that I'm aware of is the paycheck that comes in.
Is that right?
As far as I can tell. I mean, there may be other practical benefits, but they elude me.
Are there people that actually make a living as philosophers? Do they just
Sure, I mean, professors, you mean
you teach
who don't teach, right. I suspect not in the West. I don't think so, no.
For an ordinary person that wanted to learn about philosophy, who would you suggest they read, or what do you
was a wonderful little book that we still use, written by Bertrand Russell, called The Problems of Philosophy, and it's a very easy 80-page read. It's just broken up into several short chapters on the basic topics. Is knowledge possible? Is the world something external to our minds, or is it a purely mental construct? Is there some tangible reality outside of ourselves? Some of the central problems of philosophy. In fact, one of the big problems I see in the discipline today is a lot of people are saying, who said this idea first? There's a debate raging right now about some ideas that were made very clear by Saul Kripke at Princeton, and there's a debate raging. I've just written an article for the TLS on this topic right now, and one of the annoying things is that there's all this ridiculous chasing after who got where first, who said what first. And really it's the ideas themselves that are the most interesting, and to hell with it, who said what first, as far as I'm concerned.
Great. Okay, well, whenever we're ready, should we think about heading out whenever you're ready?
Sure.
Agriculture may still be the main source of income, though, tourism, I would imagine, has taken over by now. But yes, Naxos got onto the tourism thing very late, and that was one of the reasons I liked it here, because it was such an agricultural island. They didn't need the money from tourism in the same way as the other islands did, and that was the thing that drew me to Naxos in the first place, the disdain for tourists originally. But now, of course, they've gone for it hook, line and sinker, and they've sold their souls.
Well, they got the taste.
Sold their souls now, yeah. I do like the Naxos. They do have great character there.
How does Greece fit in to the rest of the world politically?
Well, it's part of the EU now. It's also part of NATO, and that really has started to have an impact on the way business is being done here.
I would think so.
In the early 80s, there was talk about pulling out of NATO and kicking the American bases out and so on. In, what was this, 1980, 81. It never happened.
I met this bartender, this woman, who is a staunch communist.
Yeah.
There are lots of communists.
Oh, sure. Well, the Civil War, had a devastating impact on Greece. When the Second World War ended in Europe, it didn't end in Greece, really. Greece, it should have been over by October 1944, when the last Germans pulled out. But, of course, Greece went straight into civil war, with Stalin supporting the left and Churchill backing the right. Mm-hmm. And that war sort of dragged on into the 1950s in one form or another. And still a lot of families are divided by these political, as you said, the left-right divide is still quite strong here. Right now we're getting into an interesting area. We're going to go and see this Kouros, which is down here in this woman's garden. Kouros is the Greek word for boy in ancient Greek, and the Kouros is this statue. It's about 5.5 meters long, hewn out of a single piece of marble. Would have been a very beautiful statue had it been finished. It's cracked just beneath the knee, as you'll see, which is the reason Now in spring, now here you can see some of these kitrons. They look like lemons, they're not, but let's go through, you'll see some better ones through here. Kalimera, Maria. Kanita. Kala? Kalimera. And she'll give you, if you want to have a drink, or coffee or Coke or something like that. So this is the kitron, which is the local stuff that's made from this.
And she sells this.
She sells some here. This is actually made in Tan, but by Prompenas, the larger chain. This obviously wasn't in this position. It must have slid down the hill. Because you can see where this leg, where it snapped during while they were making it. It obviously doesn't fit there. It's it couldn't have been there. This rock's in the way. Right. So presumably, it's definitely the same marble as this. Presumably, it was manufactured here somewhere, and then it slid down and that may have been what cracked it. Who knows? It's all guesswork at this point. So this dates from Archaic period. 6th century BC, and it was one single piece of marble was the idea,